Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing, 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 testing. What? It's working. It's working. Yeah. Hello everyone and welcome back to game week 3 of the 2023-24 PTC Therapeutics Premiership, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, for the opening game on Sunday. Will be contested between Teesside and Sevenoaks, two teams fighting for very different objectives in the Premiership division. On your screens now, you can see the squad of Teesside. Number 4, Ed Common. Number 7, Dylan Pearson. Number 9, Owen Swift. Number 10, Mitch Tinkler. Number 11, Tyler Reeve. And number 17, Alistair Hay. Their coach, Paul Pearson. They will be wearing their home strip blue with their goalkeeper, Alistair Hay, in the designated yellow. Sevenoaks, their challengers, struggling in the league this season, but you can see their squad on your screens now. Number 6, Greg Baxter. Number 7, Harry Beswick. Number 8, Kyle Alexander. Number 9, James Mason. And number 10, Miles Miller. Their coaches, Adam McAvoy and Ian Haywood. Difficult day for both of these yesterday. Teesside started with an unfortunate 2-0 loss to West Bromwich Albion. Never really got into second gear, struggled to create any, if at all, any opportunities to threaten Chris Gordon's goal. They followed that up with a 1-1 draw against Leeds, a very late equaliser from Tyler Reeves. Saw them take a point today. They start with the Kent Bayside Sevenoaks before playing Nomad Knights at 5 minutes to 2. Sevenoaks started yesterday with a frustrating 0-0 draw against Nottinghamshire, indicative of their season as a whole, struggling to create any opportunities in front of goal. They readjusted tactically and approached the game against Villa Rockets differently to that of their first, shaping slightly differently, utilising James Mason in goal. Greg Baxter as the central player. Unfortunately, they lost that one 2-0. They start, of course, against Teesside before an 11:35 game against Hull and East Yorkshire. Prior to yesterday's games, Teesside were fairly dominant in the Premiership division. They faltered slightly, certainly within their pursuit of a potential Premiership crown. Of their 9 games, they've won 7, drawn 1, lost 2, and amassed a total of 22 points. As mentioned, very different look for Sevenoaks. Of their 11 games, they are yet to secure a win. 5 draws, 6 losses, puts them on 5 points. They've only scored 3 goals across their 11 games, one of which was an own goal. They sit in 10th, just above the relegation zone. Should it finish as it currently stands, they will be the team placed in that one-off playoff fixture to face whoever finishes 3rd in the Championship. Teams just warming up. Let's take the graphic off so you can just see the respective routines of Teesside and Sevenoaks. Sevenoaks adorning emerald green kit. Their designated goalkeeper, James Mason, in pink. Live on Court B, Newcastle United Foundation looking to build on an impressive Saturday's round of fixtures as they face Hull and East Yorkshire, who are rooted to the bottom of the table. We look at the goal difference of these two teams. Teesside, across their 9 games, have scored 38 goals, a really impressive total. Only conceded 7, so sit on plus 31. Could play a significant factor in the overall outcome of the season. Sevenoaks have only scored 3 goals, conceded 23, so sit on minus 20. Had it not been for a late comeback from Newcastle United Foundation yesterday, Villa Rockets would have leapfrogged Teesside in the table. As mentioned, they just struggled to find their rhythm yesterday. They'll know more than anyone. So no doubt they'll be looking to bounce back with a vengeance here this morning. Sevenoaks have 2 games in fairly quick succession. They'll be wrapped up by around lunchtime, so no doubt they'll want to take something home. I assume that they have their eyes on that Hull and East Yorkshire game as the best possible opportunity to register a win in the 23-24 campaign. Our central referee, Steve Crump. Once we get underway, I'll talk through the selected squads and bring you the action live from the Lee Westwood Sports Centre. Looks like Sevenoaks will have the responsibility of the kickoff. Be taken via Greg Baxter. And we are underway. Baxter straight down the other end of the court. Something they have to try and do is keep the ball in attacking areas of play. Tyler Reeve didn't quite hit the heights people are accustomed to yesterday. One of the world's most talented youngsters, obviously was present in England's 2023 Fit for Power Chair Football World Cup squad, as was his teammate Ed Common. So they most definitely have quality within their ranks. 2-on-1 in favour of Teesside, will be taken by Tyler Reeve. He has Ed Common to his left, Mitch Tinkler to his right. He opts for the former. Insert James Mason for his first involvement in this game. Fortunately for Sevenoaks, Teesside just creating that overload, didn't leave the necessary 3 metres for play to continue. Indirect free kick taken by James Mason into the back of Greg Baxter. Very stop-start in the opening minute and a half. Steve Crump very strict on these 2-on-1 infringements. Reeve into Common. Miles Miller nearly scoring an own goal. Baxter had to readjust. Common. Put out of play by Harry Bestwick. Worth noting that this fixture is the first of each of these teams game week 4. That's going to, the 13th of April, the next round of Premiership games. Common into Reeve, over to Tinkler, back over to Common. They're starting to pick their passes on the edge of the Sevenoaks box. 2-on-1 in favour of Teesside. Harry Bestwick just drawn into action there. Whether or not it was a 2-on-1 or a 3 on the box, 3 in the box, is hard to tell from my angle on the court side. But it looks like going to shape up for a potential boom between Reeve and Common. Baxter well aware of the threat of a boom, having conceded one to Aspire earlier in the season, but they feint over to Tinkler. Baxter does well to clear the initial shot. Miles Miller tries to guide it out of play, but the danger's still there. Miller brilliantly controls it. Closed down quickly by the England international Ed Common. Into the box, Miles Miller over to Tinkler, back to Reeve on the edge. Sevenoaks absorbing a lot of pressure in the opening 4 minutes. Out of play for a corner kick. Alistair Hay, Teesside goalkeeper, yet to have any involvement in this opening fixture of the day. If I hadn't mentioned it, Alistair Hay in goal. Tyler Reeve, Ed Common, Mitch Tinkler comprises Teesside's squad. As Mitch Tinkler forces an effort into that left-hand post. Danger still live. Ricochets back. Miles Miller has to readjust, takes it in reverse and flicks it down the line to relieve pressure. His coaches will be happy with that. For Sevenoaks, they're comprised of James Mason, Greg Baxter, Miles Miller and Harry Bestwick. Options on the bench for both teams. Carl Alexander, single substitute for Sevenoaks. Owen Swift and Dylan Pearson on the bench for Teesside. Common has an effort at goal. Good passing play. Good advantage played by our referee. Miller keeps it in play on that right-hand wing for Sevenoaks, the left as you're viewing it. James Mason traps the ball. Mason. Miller just unable to keep it in play. As you've seen the graphic on your screens, Newcastle United Foundations lead Hull and East Yorkshire by a goal to nil as Harry Bestwick has possession on the wing. Just takes a little bit of a heavy touch, but an absolutely brilliant pass back to James Mason. Without question, the most advanced he's been all game, and that is much better from Sevenoaks. Brilliant work by Harry Bestwick. Patient play. Took his time to pick out the right option, and James Mason almost came out of nowhere to pick that ball off. Goal bound. Teesside under pressure for the first time this game. 7.5 minutes played. Goal kick. Cheers of encouragement from their coach Ian Hayward as Harry Bestwick has another opportunity. Just a bit too much pace for him to catch up to that ball. Very square ball that from James Mason, but I've said on commentary before, their position in the league table is not representative of the quality that Sevenoaks have. Just struggled to click this season, but certainly when you consider their squad, they've got a number of players very highly regarded within the England setup. Both Kyle Alexander and Greg Baxter have represented their country at major European competitions, and that at senior level. So no doubt they'll be looking to pull on that experience. James Mason, one of the brightest talents on the Regional Emergent Talent Programme at present. Again, he has to be careful of his passing, try and keep it, distribute a little bit deeper. Them square balls have troubled Miles Miller slightly. As Reeve has possession, tries to pick out Mitch Tinkler, but guided out of play by Miles Miller. Tinkler, great pass over to Ed Common, couldn't quite get the timing and or connection to force an effort at goal, but the danger's still live. Tinkler to Reeve. James Mason to take. Controlled by Miles Miller brilliantly. Tyler Reeve patient enough to let that roll out of play. You can see the graphic, just how close it is at the bottom. It's not that graphic doesn't show Hull and East Yorkshire, but in terms of Nottinghamshire, Manchester United, Sevenoaks and Nomad Knights, how close it is, and that fight for Premiership survival will likely go down to the wire. Nottinghamshire did brilliant to pick up a win yesterday. Don't underestimate what a win for Sevenoaks could do here or in their second game of the day against Hull and East Yorkshire. More direct from Sevenoaks than anything they produced yesterday, which is really good to see. Miles Miller, millimetres away from connecting, not before Steve Crump, our referee, had blown his whistle for a 2-on-1 infringement against Teesside, so an indirect free kick in the Teesside half. Need to make these opportunities count. 9.5 minutes to be played. Baxter to take. Bestwick in the centre. Miller just nicks off the back of his chair, doesn't get the connection he would have wanted, and Mitch Tinkler now is going to have the opportunity to break for Teesside, who are currently residing in 3rd position in the league. Reeve with an opportunity, flicked out of danger by Miles Miller. Certainly, compared to the normal heights in which they have hit this season, Teesside just faltering slightly in game week 3. Absolutely prolific in game weeks 1 and 2. They're just looking to get their rhythm back. Without speaking too soon, this is one of the most organised Sevenoaks performances I've seen. Certainly this weekend, they are experimenting with James Mason in goal. I think they only trialled that for the first time in their defeat to Villa Rockets yesterday, so have to give these sort of things time to bed in, as Miller has possession, this bottom right-hand corner. Flicked back to Baxter, great pass. Advantage from Steve Crum. Mitch Tinkler switches it over to Ed Common, but a crucial touch from Greg Baxter. Otherwise, it could have been an opening goal. Very stop-start. Tyler Reeve to take this indirect free kick. Mitch Tinkler, a very congested area, trying to squeeze his chair between Baxter and Mason. Ed Common in much more space on the left, who he opts to choose into the box, off the front of James Mason's chair. Miller. Mitch Tinkler attacking that right-hand post. 2-on-1 in favour of Sevenoaks. Just seen that Newcastle United Foundation have doubled their advantage against Hull and East Yorkshire. That can be found on the WFA's YouTube. All games are now individual links, making it much easier to follow your favourite teams, and you can click that notification bell to be told when the games are made live. Really beneficial feature, certainly for the viewing experience, as Miles Miller does well to adjust, just allows Reeve a little bit too much space. 6 minutes to go. Tinkler across the box into Tyler Reeve, cleared off the line by Greg Baxter. Nice passing work from the northeast side. We're looking to regain their standing at the top, or around the top of the Premiership table. Out for a goal kick. Substitution, the first of the game for Teesside. Sees Mitch Tinkler come off, and number 7 Dylan Pearson come on. You should have confirmation of that on your screens. Mason, he's had good distribution from goal kicks this game. Such a risky business, sometimes millimetres in it from finding the clear option or relieving pressure by putting it in advanced areas, or hitting an opposition bumper, which would almost certainly put immediate pressure on his goal. But thus far, he's done very well. Baxter into Harry Beswick, pick off to Miles Miller. Good work. Harry Bestwick, just a slight miscommunication between Bestwick and Baxter. Allowed Dylan Pearson to break there. Had it not been for a 2-on-1, they could have easily advanced very quickly up the court. Pearson, dispossessed by Miller, who's had a very good game so far. Ed Common, over to Harry Bestwick. Probably very comfortably into double digits now for free kicks and indirect free kicks we've had in the 17.5 minutes of this first half. Steve Crump policing with high levels of authority. Great to see him back officiating, one of the world's leading match officials. Miles Miller flicks it back. Good communication, goes to Mason. Baxter to Bestwick, into the path of Miles Miller. Common straight down the other end of the court. Mason's going to let that roll out of play for a goal kick. "17 minutes gone. Teesside 0, Sevenoaks 0. An entertaining game this. From the sounds of it, Newcastle United Foundation have found their third goal against Hull and East Yorkshire. I'll bring you confirmation of that one very shortly. Dylan Pearson attempts an effort, just locks up between Miller and Mason. Should have confirmation of that Newcastle goal in which they've just scored. Having a very impressive game week 3. Remember, at the conclusion of today's action, you will be able to vote on your team of the weekend. So 4 players, 2 substitutes and a coach, which comprise the most impressive performances across this weekend of football. You'll also be able to vote on your standout player, an individual performance, and the unsung hero, shining a light on a player that may not necessarily get the plaudits or spotlight, but can be so crucial to their respective team. At some point today, we will also be conducting the quarter-final draw of the John Good Group WFA Cup. Both of these 2 teams still in the hat. They're yet to play their third round fixture. Sevenoaks play Premiership rivals Throstles next Saturday, as Harry Bestwick does well on that left-hand wing. Teesside have to travel to Greenbank, who are currently leading the pack in the championship. Look good odds to secure their first ever championship trophy, as Ed Common has an attempt at goal. Millimetres wide of that left-hand post. That's better. Sevenoaks have to be aware of that. Head in the hands of Paul Pearson. With 30 seconds to go, it's a real let-off from Sevenoaks. Arguably the most credible opportunity we've had for either one of these 2 teams to score all game. Mason with the goal kick. Teesside pushed up, and that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Have to be so careful with them goal kicks. Sometimes millimetres in it from scoring, from getting that ball into attacking areas of the court or gifting possession back to the opposition. And Tyler Reeve puts his team 1-0 up, and that will be the last action of the first half. Really unlucky from Sevenoaks, who will be absolutely gutted that they weren't able to see that 0-0 draw into the break. Teesside haven't created a great deal. They had that chance a minute before the end via Red Common. Before that goal kick, the resulting goal kick from James Mason was intercepted by Tyler Reid. But thank you to all that are joining me for this opening game. I'll be back shortly for the second half. Hello everyone and welcome back to this second half in this fixture between Teesside PFC and Sevenoaks PFC. As you can see, just a single goal separating these two teams as we approach the second, and it was scored with seconds left on the clock in that first 20 minutes. Scored by Tyler Reeve, who did brilliantly well to intercept a James Mason goal kick. Looks like these teams will be unchanged from that finished the first. For Teesside, Alistair Hay, Tyler Reeve, Ed Common and Dylan Pearson. For Sevenoaks, James Mason, Greg Baxter, Miles Miller and Harry Bestwick. Live on Court B, Newcastle United Foundation lead Hull and East Yorkshire by 3-0. That can also be found live on YouTube. And we are underway in this second half. Immediate thrashed shot from Greg Baxter up the court, as was the case in the first half. Steve Crump quickly overseeing proceedings, awarding an indirect free kick via a 2-on-1. Greg Baxter to take, Harry Bestwick to the far right. Miles Miller in the congested central area. Reeve into Dylan Pearson. Flicks back to Baxter, over to Bestwick, trying to guide it over to Miller in the space. Baxter does well to find him. They've started with attacking intent as Harry Bestwick just drives into the back of Alistair Hay. Looked like the referee was going to blow. Allow play to continue, just asking Bestwick to calm down slightly. But fortunately for them, Sevenoaks come away with the kick in, nothing more. As Mason's pushed up very high, and Ed Common has an attempt at goal. That's going to go just wide of the left-hand post. It's all about that risk versus reward factor. James Mason pushed up pretty much with all Sevenoaks players in their attacking half. They're the ones that have to desperately search for a goal, which have been incredibly hard to come by in the 23-24 campaign. Only Greg Baxter and Harry Bestwick have goals to their name. Their third was an own goal. Baxter into Miller, 2-on-1 in favour of Teesside. Ed Common. To Reeve. Flicks over to Dylan Pearson. Miles Miller just gets a touch to put it into the path of James Mason. Allows Dylan Pearson to maintain that attacking pressure for Teesside. That goal for Tyler Reeve in the first half. He's 14th of the season. Really impressive tally thus far. Ed Common has 11, Mitch Tinkler has 6, Owen Swift has 5 and Dylan Pearson has 1. Alistair Hay, the only Teesside player yet to register a goal in this season's campaign. Been fairly prolific. Baxter. Into Harry Bestwick. There you can see the updated goal scorer charts. Brad Bates leading the way with 17. Tyler Reeve quickly following. Ed Common with 11. Sam Smith with 10. Marcus Harrison with 10 also. We'll try and bring up the goal scorers for Sevenoaks to just show that they have really struggled, as Ed Common puts it on a plate for Dylan Pearson. Not before the referee awards a 2-on-1. We're going to get a substitution. Owen Swift is going to make his first appearance of the day in place of Dylan Pearson. As you can see, Greg Baxter and Harry Bestwick, the only 2 goal scorers for Sevenoaks, both with 1 goal apiece. Substitution should have confirmation on your screens now as Owen Swift enters the action. Good work from Miles Miller to just reorientate and guide the ball towards the Sevenoaks goal. Tyler Reeve into Owen Swift for his first involvement. James Mason controls it, couldn't quite keep it in play. Out of play by Miles Miller. Baxter. Over to Miller, who has space to advance into. You can see what this win does. Takes Teesside above West Bromwich Albion in the standings. Impressive tally from Newcastle United Foundation, who are currently winning on Court B. That puts them right in the mix. All 3 sides desperately trying to chase Aspire, who have been fairly faultless in the 23-24 season. Just that draw against West Bromwich Albion, the only blemish on their record. Baxter tries to pick out Harry Bestwick. Ed Common does well to see it out of play. 13 minutes to go. Can Sevenoaks find a way back into this game, or will Teesside assert their dominance? Common. Miller caught slightly unaware that the ball was approaching his vicinity so quickly. Steve Crump once again awards a 2-on-1. Tyler Reeve to take. Owen Swift locked in that top left-hand corner. Common between the chairs of Mason and Miller just drops off. Be a corner kick. So Owen Swift takes his position on the right-hand side of the box. Tyler Reeve position. I wonder if they're going to try an American-style corner kick here. Tyler Reeve drives in, just angles his chair to send it goal bound, and couldn't quite get the angle to ensure the follow-up effort was goal bound, and the ball just ricochets off of Greg Baxter into the face of Tyler Reeve. A let off there from Sevenoaks, but good defensive work from Mason and Baxter. Almost certainly a second goal for Tyler Reeve, who will now contest this set ball with Greg Baxter. Baxter does well to just angle his chair. Common on the edge of the box, waiting. Reeve patient enough to let that roll out of play for a kick in. As was the case in the first half, Alistair Hay so isolated in the Teesside defensive box. Little to no involvement, certainly in this second half. It's Teesside starting to build off that 1-0 scoreline they got in the 20th minute of play. Sounds like Newcastle have got their fourth. I'll bring that confirmation of that shortly as Common puts it to Reeve. Reeve, goal bound, trapped by Baxter. Have to be very alert here. Tyler Reeve ready to pounce, try and capitalise on any miscommunication between them two defensive players. Out for a goal kick. As you can see from that graphic, Newcastle, and that's 5 goals. Substitution this time for Sevenoaks. Sees Kyle Alexander make his first appearance of the day. Miles Miller, he's had a very good game. Comes off. 10 minutes to go. Mason into Kyle Alexander. Looks like he's taken the role of that central player. Greg Baxter now on the left-hand wing. Guides it over to Bestwick. Back to Alexander. Fortunate ricochet over to Baxter. Much better. Opted to try and find Baxter again. Looks to have invigorated them. That substitution as they have a corner kick on the left-hand side. Into the side of Tyler Reeve's chair. Out of play for a Sevenoaks kick-in. Baxter into Alexander. Into the space, pick off from Alexander over to Harry Bestwick on the edge of the box. Alistair Hay alert and clears the danger. Bestwick into Alexander, down to Bestwick. Brilliant football that. Just able to avoid the oncoming Ed Common. Out of play for a goal kick. Mason, yeah, probably the right option there. Any other pass would have probably resulted in an interception from Ed Common. Teesside take it quickly as Alexander tries to guide it over to Bestwick. Quickly taken. Crucial interception that from James Mason. Owen Swift in plenty of room at that back post. Would have surely scored in an open net had James Mason not got a touch. 6.5 minutes to go. Teesside 1, Sevenoaks 0. Alexander. Down the court, controlled by Tyler Reeve. Intercepted by Greg Baxter. Baxter, intercepted by Tyler Reeve. Mason didn't quite get the power. Now there's an overload. But good positioning from the Sevenoaks number 9. Reeve with responsibility. Ed Common down the line. Owen Swift, the other side of the box. Harry Bestwick controls. Mason couldn't quite get the power and or angle to pick out Baxter, who's in a lot of room on that left-hand wing. Signs of frustration from Mason, who just hits his chair. No doubt he was very much aware of that option. Mason into Alexander, over to Bestwick. That's better, just to relieve pressure on their defence. Can they capitalise? Alistair Hay comfortable in letting that ball roll out of play for a goal kick. Out of play for a Teesside ball. From the sounds of it, we have yet another goal for Newcastle United Foundation. We now lead by 6 clear goals. Confirmation on your screens now. Owen Swift can't quite control that. Mason slightly advanced up the court. Kyle Alexander's dropped into that most defensive role momentarily as the Sevenoaks designated keeper tries to support Kyle Alexander in attack. Very open play this from Sevenoaks. Have to be aware of potential counter-attack. They have to go for it now though. 3.5 minutes. They still trail by a goal to nil. I think they would risk losing 2-0 if there's a possibility of getting a point. Mason. Owen Swift puts good pressure on. Over to Baxter on the left. Into the side of Common. Kyle Alexander into Greg Baxter. Signs of frustration from Adam McAvoy. There was no real purpose or reason for Kyle Alexander to hit the ball with so much power there. Greg Baxter was trapped in that top left-hand corner. It was a good pass on that occasion though. Just set Greg Baxter away before Tyler Reeve readjusts and just comes over to clear the danger. Comes away with the kick in with 2 minutes left to be played. This win would take Teesside into second position momentarily. West Bromwich Albion scheduled next against West Bromwich Albion Throssels on this court, so I hope you can join me for commentary on that one. Reeve. Ricochets between Alexander and Common. Mason has to come and close down the Teesside number 4. Out of play for a kick in. Tyler Reeve in support down the line. Owen Swift in the box. Ed Common attempts an effort at goal. Out for a corner kick. Reeve in a nice position here to potentially flick it goal bound or guide it over to Owen Swift if Ed Common doesn't opt for that option himself. Alexander does well. Now a chance to break. Harry Bestwick in support deep down the court. Out for a Teesside ball. Less than a minute to be played. Definite positives to take for Adam McAvoy and Ian Hayward. Whilst it is unlikely that they're to secure any points from this game, probably the most structured and disciplined performance that I've seen from them this campaign. They have to try and build on this. They have such a key game against Hull and East Yorkshire at 11:35, but a late chance from Harry Bestwick almost means they are able to rescue that point. Tyler Reeve now breaking, down to Owen Swift, out of play. They have to make this count. Had the regulation 20, so now into any additional time that Steve Crump has accrued across this second half. Mason, Bestwick in space on the right-hand side. They're all pushed up into the Teesside half, and a potential chance for Tyler Reeve to break and seal the 3 points. Play continues. Tyler Reeve in absolutely no rush. Ed Common down the line. And that concludes the action. A really good game between these two. Sevenoaks will be really disappointed, not necessarily in the performance, but in the fact that they conceded a fairly cheap goal late in that first half, but without question positives to take ahead of their final game. Teesside back to winning ways, having faltered slightly yesterday, losing to West Bromwich Albion and drawing to Leeds. Next up for them, they play Nomad Knights at 5 minutes to 2. And as mentioned, Sevenoaks have a game against Hull and East Yorkshire at 11:35. Next up on this court, West Bromwich Albion versus West Bromwich Albion Throssels. Hope you can join me for that one soon.
I hope you don't take offence. I hope you don't take offence, but I haven't prepared your graphic yet. I will do. I will do.
Lee wants to see that ugly mug in public.